Afternoon. My name is Kathy Angioni. I'm with the Department of Educational Technology for the School District of Palm Beach County. And I am joined by Janice Winnemeyer, who is our Canva training specialist. That's your title, Janice?
Canva learning consultant, but yes.
Okay, learning consultant. So you can see our very professional looking AI images there. These were created using the Canva AI tool. So we're diligently working there, looking very cute. Don't know why my sleeves don't go all the way to my wrist, but you know, it is what it is. I love a 3/4 sleeve anyway. So thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon. I know many of you have been on our trainings all day today, and we really appreciate it. I know that Janice has some great information, lots of fun updates with Canva for us to go over. So there are quite a few people on the training today, so we just want to do a few housekeeping, make sure that your mics are muted. If you do have any questions, please throw them in the chat and we will get to you as soon as we can. We would love for you to engage and participate using your emojis, things down at the bottom would be awesome. We love that feedback from you guys. So we'd love to see if you see something Janice is doing. I mean, everything is just going to blow your mind anyway, because it's so cool. So for those of you, this is kind of a Canva new features. This isn't a Canva 101, but we do have, oops, sorry. Oh, it didn't do the right slide. But Canva is one of the programs that is approved, that has AI features, that is approved for our students. All students in Palm Beach County have access to Canva. All adults in Palm Beach County have access to Canva in the school district. This is a tile in the portal. So if you're going somewhere else, you want to make sure that you're going through the tile. This is your students. If you're in a classroom, your students are rostered within Canva. So if they do switch classes, go to another teacher, it's just going to take that overnight sync before they appear in your class or before they're removed from your class. There's nothing that you have to do on your end. The AI tools themselves, because of the terms of service, are only unlocked in Palm Beach County for 6 through 12. But there are lots of other amazing features that Canva has that our younger elementary school students are able to utilize, and you're able to share your creations, your output with your students, even if they can't create them themselves. So Janice is going to go over some great information for you guys. So I will hand it over to Janice, but again, please make sure that you're utilizing the chat for any questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Super excited to be here and share all of this wonderful stuff today. I don't really have very many slides. I want to get us just diving in and creating, but definitely while I'm kind of getting us started, you'll definitely want to make sure you can log into Canva. So like Kathy said, going through that portal and making sure that you can get logged in. If you're already logged in, when I share my little activity link, that will be really helpful and will save us some time. Let me see if I can get my screen to share. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay. Amazing. So again, not too many slides. And I normally wouldn't even start with this one, but because we updated a few things, I know we're going to talk about a lot of the new features. I wanted to do just a couple quick pieces. And a couple of things about new features in Canva. It's a fun time to do this because Canva launches twice a year. So we do a lot of our big launches with new features twice a year. The first one was our bigger launches typically come around spring, so like April or May. We did launch a lot of really amazing features in April and May. They rolled out about June. So like most teachers were off. So these are still really new for teachers. And then we launched a bunch of stuff a week ago. So there's a lot of new right now in Canva. So I've kind of combined what was recently launched along with our spring launches to kind of cover some of what I think is a little bit of fun, a little bit of new, all of those pieces today. So Really quick introduction. I know Kathy already introduced me, but my name is Janice. I'm your Canva learning consultant. So my role with Canva is professional development. I have the fun job. I work with teachers to talk about how to use Canva in the classroom. I'm a former teacher and instructional coach. I was a teacher for 15 years, mostly in middle school and high school ELA. And then I was a K-12 tech coach also. I've been at Canva just wrapping up 4 years, which is insane. And it's been amazing to watch everything really grow and change. But I've been using Canva since 2014 with my students. So it's fun to see all of the things that I wish I would have had when I was in the classroom. So super exciting. I am joining you from the Pacific Northwest. So I live just outside Seattle, Washington, where it is a surprisingly beautiful fall day today. So super excited about that here. And then a little fun fact that's new, which Kathy, I don't even think I told you this, but I'm a new Canva creator. So I'm very excited about that as well, which means I'm creating education content that goes into the Canva template library. So that's where you can find my creator page. It doesn't have a lot yet. It's like a week old, but I'm working on it and I'm working on building that up. So if at any point there's like a template, especially in the secondary realm, which I know is kind of where Canva has a lot of elementary, maybe slightly less in the secondary, I'm working on building up some of that content for y'all. So excited to be able to do that as well. Okay, I am going to do this poll and I'm going to actually put this in the chat, and I'm going to do this because we did update this feature in Canva. So I really want to talk about that a little bit today as well, but this will give us an oops, nope. I don't know what is happening right now, but it doesn't like that button all of a sudden. Let's try this. There we go. And I'm going to put this link in the chat. So you can either scan the QR code or you can use that link in the chat to answer this poll. And I'm going to do this because we did update our polls and I'm going to talk about that, but this will allow me to show you what it looks like when you have responses, which is really hard to show if I don't. So this will allow me to kind of show that piece when we get there. So I'm going to give you just a quick minute if you want to either scan that QR code or use the link in the chat and then choose the answer that best fits how familiar you currently are with Canva. And we'll get a few votes and few answers in here, and that will give us something to take a look at when we get to forms today. But Canva's had polls and quizzes for a while. We just gave them a really awesome new facelift. And so this is a great way to add quick interactivity into your classroom, whether it's a quick poll, quick quiz, quick question, dipstick check, formative assessment, whatever that looks like. So you can see in my screen, it is updating in real time. However, I did have to answer it for it to start updating, or for it to at least show on my end. So just know if you have this on like a classroom board, either use a student answer or just know if you vote, it's going to skew those answers slightly because you're going to add your own response to it. So just a couple quick pieces there. Amazing. Okay, so again, you don't have to answer, but at least we have some answers, which will allow me to show those responses when we get to that part today. Okay, I'm going to start really quickly on Canva's homepage and just share a couple of things that have updated just so we know where they are, and then we're going to dive into our activity. So when you log into Canva, it will look something like this. A couple of things have updated if you've been using Canva for a while, or even if you're brand new. There used to be in this upper right corner a little switcher where you could see what team you are working in and double check. That has moved. It is way down here in this lower left corner under this little bubble. So it's super important when you first log into Canva that you click on that bubble and you check and see what team you're working in. So you should see your email and then your team here. You want to be working in the team that's associated with the school that you're assigned to. If you're not in a school, you're in a different role. It might say staff and admin or something different, but you should see that blue check mark in the name of your school. It's also important that you do this with your students, especially if you're in what I call like a transition year. So if you have students that have moved from elementary to middle school or middle school to high school, or they've just moved schools, Canva doesn't replace the team. They just get added to their new team. So you always want to make sure they're working in their correct school team so that it makes sharing and connection a little bit easier. So to do that, you just click on that bubble and you can check here which team that you are working in. So that's number one, super important to kind of keep an eye on. A couple other things have changed on the homepage. You will still see your quick buttons here. You'll see the ability to find through your designs and templates. You do still have your projects tab over here on the left, which is all of your projects, your folders, kind of like your little drive for Canva. And then you'll also see templates. So when you click on templates, though, it does take you back to the home page, basically. It's the same as clicking on this templates tab. So it's a little different. It opens up a little different window, but I just always like to point out, if I go to the home page and click on templates, it's still that same page. So that part has shifted a little bit for those who might be newer. And things like that. So just a couple quick tips there. This is where you can find those creators. If you want to find me, that's where you would locate if you follow any Canva creators, which a lot of people don't realize you can even do. And then the other quick piece is on that home page in these little bubbles here, there is an education bubble. So if you're looking for things that are education specific, this is a great way to kind of just scan and filter and see what some options might be. And then you'll have some education templates. You can always, again, search using those keywords, education, whatever that might look like, but just some quick tips when it comes to templates, because that has changed a little bit too. Okay. All right, I'm going to share a link to this in the chat. This is where if you're logged in, it is going to make this go a little bit quicker. This is just a little activity that we're going to work ourselves through just to kind of highlight some of the new features. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat. So that second link in the chat, when I click on the link, oops, it opened in my other window. Let me pull it over here. When you click on the link in the chat, it will look something like this. Your purple button, though, will say View Template. So if you don't see that, scroll down. Click your purple button that says View Template. You're going to get a second pop-up. You're going to choose the second purple button that says Open, and it's going to make you a copy of that design. So basically, click the link, click all the purple buttons, and then it'll make you a copy of this design. Again, it just gives us a space to kind of work through as we go. And so I'll give you just a minute. If you're having trouble with that, let us know in the chat. But this is where, if you're not logged in, it might cycle you through login, and you might have to re-click the link once you're logged in. It's kind of funny sometimes. But that should give you this copy. I don't see too much in the chat, so I'm going to assume that's a good sign that we're all able to click the link, click all the buttons, and get that open. When you have this open, again, this is your design. So we're not collaborating. There's no one else in here with you. This is just all yours. You should see when you open it, these pages at the bottom. If you don't, sometimes depending on the design type that you're in, you might not. One quick button that I want to highlight is this Pages button down here in the lower right corner. That Pages button will raise and lower that tray. So if you start a design and you don't see pages at the bottom, or if at any point today you want to drop those, if they're in the way and you want more space to design, you can always click Pages and it will raise and lower that tray of pages. So that's one quick tip there. On page 2, this is just kind of a placeholder to show a new feature that we do have, and that is the ability to combine doc types into one design. So what I mean by that is, previously in Canva, if you were creating slides, you had slides. If you were creating a document, you had document pages. Now you can combine those all into one, which means you can unit plan or lesson plan or create multiple different activities all in one space. So this is just a little placeholder that shows you that. So you can see along the bottom here, I have first couple are presentation slides. Then we have some Canva spreadsheets. This is actually an embedded deck, which I'm going to talk about at the end. So there is a plus sign at the very end where I can add pages. When I click the plus sign, it will always add whatever type of page is immediately before it. So this is a presentation slide. So if I click the plus sign, it's going to add another presentation slide. However, there is this little arrow here. If I click that arrow, it opens up this menu where I can pick anything I want to add. So this is where I can combine pieces. So if I want to add a whiteboard or a video or a document or a spreadsheet, I can do that. One thing that often gets missed is that document is meant for text-based pieces. So it's more like a Google Doc where it's just all text. Whereas a lot of times what people are really looking for is like an activity or something that almost like fits on a piece of paper. Those would live under print. And then you would find something that's 8.5 by 11, like worksheet, flyer, something like that, which is different than a document. So you can always do that under the print button. Is a little confusing, but that is where you'd get things that are like vertical, posters, whatever else you'd want to add. And then under more, you can also choose custom sizes, choose 8.5 by 11 or whatever size you want it to be. So you can have all different types, orientations, page types, all in one space. So that's one update. That's exciting. All right, we're going to move to page 3. We're going to start with just some little fun stuff that's new. This is kind of small things, but I think they're kind of fun and everybody really likes them. So it's just a fun way to kind of have a little bit of fun with Canva and a little bit of AI built in. So the first one we're going to talk about is graphics. So on this left-hand side, we have this menu of tabs. The first tab is always design, which is our template library. And the second tab is elements. If you haven't been in Canva in a couple weeks, elements also got a little bit of a reorganization, and I love it because it's so clean and easy to find everything. I love this so much. But under elements now, it's all kind of broken down into these sections. So we're going to start in the section here that says graphics. It's got a little yellow sunflower. When I click in graphics, this is where we get the majority of things that we add to our design. So this is going to be every graphic icon, things like that. There are over 1 million graphics in Canva, so you can search for absolutely anything and you're going to find it. So I always tell people be descriptive, have a little bit of fun with it. I think this is where people are probably pretty familiar with this, but maybe I want, well, it's not really winter, but that's okay. We're going to pick winter, and I can just pick winter, or I can pick snowflake. Let's pick snowflake. It's not snowing here, but it's okay. And I'm going to get all kinds of different options. I'm going to get animated graphics and non-animated graphics and all kinds of things. But I can also use that search term. Maybe I want glitter snowflakes. I can find glitter snowflakes. Or, oh, that one's pretty. Like, see, that looks like glitter. That's a fun one. Or I can choose like 3D is my favorite search term. 3D snowflakes. They're a little bit more three-dimensional. These ones aren't quite as fun. I will say our search is a little bit buggy right now. So if you don't get everything you're looking for, we know we're working on it. I'm going to add this one. Now this one, let's search for a couple more things. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to kind of, I'll give you like a minute and a half to kind of add a couple things on here. Maybe I want, maybe I want a snowman. Add a snowman. I don't know. I'm on a winter kick today. Maybe it's because I'm going to Salt Lake City, which I thought would be cold today, but it's not. It's warmer than it is in Seattle. So I don't know. Maybe I just want the snow. Okay, we'll add a couple here. So I'm going to give you like 1 quick minute. Try to get like 3 or 4 different graphics on there. And then we will keep going. Yes, if you were making a flyer and a matching social media, you can put them all in the same project. Google banners, whatever you want it to be, which is awesome. I know, amazing, right? Okay, let's take a quick minute, and I'm going to give you 1 minute to kind of add different things. I don't think my sound's going to come through, but we'll try. I don't think I can do it this way, but let's try it. We'll take 1 minute, try to get 3 or 4 different graphics on here, and then we'll talk about ways that you can edit and modify graphics now with some of our new tools. Okay. So I added a couple, again, hopefully you have a couple on there. And we're going to take a look at some different ways that you can edit and modify graphics. Again, these are just kind of fun just to be creative as you're adding things to your design. And this only works on graphics. So I'm going to choose one of these graphics. I'm going to pick my snowflake. When I click on this graphic, in the upper toolbar up here, there's a button that says Edit. When I click Edit, is going to open a window. It's very slow all of a sudden. I don't know why. There we go. Under Edit, it's going to open this panel, and there's a new section here that says Style Match. So when I click on See All and I go into Style Match, I can turn any graphic into any one of these things. Does it sound silly? Yes, but it's really fun. So maybe I want everything to look a little more cartoon, and maybe I found all these graphics I like, but they look all different. So I can make them all look a little more cartoon-like, or just like an outline. Or the chrome one, I think, looks like a Monopoly piece. So you can make it look a little fun. Or there's different like iridescence fun. All of these colored ones are glitter, which is really fun. I turn everything into pink glitter just for fun because I think that's exciting. So I just click on any one of these. It's going to take that graphic and it's going to make it whichever one I choose. Again, a little silly, but kind of fun. You can really adjust all different graphics to be whatever you want it to look like, things like that. So I'm going to give it just a quick minute. It's going to think about it. It's going to take a second. I don't know why it's so slow today. So sorry. And then it's going to adjust it. So some of my favorite ones are these obviously glitter ones, iridescent. Oh, see, now it's a little pink glitter snowflake. So it just turned it into whatever I asked it. So that's fun. I'm going to undo that one. And I don't know why we're not saving. I don't know what is happening today. Oh, there we go. And then plush is also a really fun one. I like, yeah. Oh, it doesn't like that one? Hold on, let me give mine a quick refresh. Mine's being a little funny today. I don't know why. Let's try that again. Try my little snowflake. Maybe it doesn't like that one. Edit. Dial match. Plush. Oh, apparently I'm out of AI. I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's fun to know.
Yeah, Janice, we've been getting that message too. So maybe it's like a something going on because I got it as well when I tried to do video creation earlier in the day.
Okay.
So maybe I'm sure the elves are working on it in the background.
They totally are. So we'll see how this goes because I don't know what it's going to limit me today. So that's really helpful, but it's really fun. Plush is a really fun one. It makes it look like a little plush toy. That's a really fun one, which is really great because it's only the 11th and I have a lot of sessions left to do. So that's going to be really fun for me. We'll figure that out. That's okay. Style match is one option. So that's one way to do it. A couple other options that you have when editing graphics. You also, actually, let me grab a different one. Let me see if this will even work, but hold on. The other option that you have is if you find a graphic that has a certain style. So this is one way I kind of know how to show it. This one's kind of pixely. If I want all of these different, like if I want something else to look kind of pixely, there is a little paint roller up here. We have a new version where, yeah, it's not gonna let me do it. That's super helpful. Awesome, where I can copy the art style. So I could take that if I use the little paint roller, click on my heart, and then if I clicked on the snowflake, it would turn the snowflake kind of pixely to match the heart. So it copies the style of one graphic and puts it on another one. So that's helpful too. So that's a fun way to do it. So that's another option. Let's see if this one works. Probably not, but we'll try. A third way to change things is to click on a graphic. In the smaller floating toolbar, there's a little button that says Ask Canva. Under Ask Canva, it pops open what looks like our comment box, and you can ask Canva to change it in some way. So you tell it what you want. So my fun example that I just put on my TikTok yesterday was I can take something like this snow globe and say, fill the snow globe with a winter forest, that's a high school forest scene. That has a snowman and penguin ice skating. So you tell it what you want. Do you want it to be different colors? Do you want it to be a different style? What do you want that graphic to look like or to do? And then you can use the AI, hit generate. Let's see if this one works. This one might work because it's different type of AI. It's more like Magic Write. Maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll get a little error. Yeah, no, I won't. It will do it. It will add a little piece in there and it will and then it'll show it to you down here. And then you can adjust. Actually, let me see if I have mine in here. I did it yesterday, so I bet I have it sitting in here. Maybe still from yesterday. Maybe not. Oh no. Let me see if I have my pre-state. Anyways, that's how it works. So you ask it to do something, it will do it. It will, is it going to be in here? Nope, of course not. Of course it's not in here either. That's okay. It will do it, I promise. So you just ask it what you want. It'll say finalizing. It'll run for a few minutes and it'll pop up the little graphic in this comment thread. If you click on it, it will replace the graphic with the one that you asked. So that is another way to kind of modify. And actually Ask Canva works on anything, text, photos, graphics. So I use it in graphics, but you can use it in quite a few other things as well. So anything you find in the graphic library, you can either use that style match to change it. So if I wanted like letters to be in gold sparkle, or I want something different, I can either use the style match or use that Ask Canva to adjust it and change it, and it will. So those are some different options. So I'm going to give you, I know I can't do it, but I'm going to give you just a really quick minute and a half to test those out. I know that's really fast. And then we're going to keep going. So I'm going to give you a quick minute and a half really fast. Okay. I was testing something on this one to see if I can do it. Okay, perfect. I think this is okay. I think this is the only part that I'm going to get stuck on today. We'll see what happens. But different ways to edit, modify graphics, again, just to have a little bit of fun. Okay. We're going to go on to the next one. We're going to talk quickly about forms. So forms are also, oh, I'm sorry. One last thing. I'm so sorry. I forgot to say this. Under elements, there is also a new section. It is not under the same graphics tab. So if I back out of that original graphics tab and let me take out some of these, underneath it is a section that says 3D. So under 3D, here is a whole section of new 3D graphics. So they're different than typing that in as a search term under graphics. These are slightly different. When I add one of these 3D graphics, you'll notice when I add it, it has a little button in the center. I can move these in any direction and rotate them around. So this is really fun. I am super easy to be able, it's a fun way to kind of adjust things, use things that are you consistently want to use, but also move them, adjust them, whatever that might look like. A little bonus fun fact that's probably not going to work for me, but it's okay. A little bonus fun fact with these 3D graphics, under apps on the left, under the little apps waffle, under our Magic Media, which is our image generation app, there is also a 3D generator where you can generate your own 3D graphics. So whatever, it's not going to be super realistic, but it does, like, if you want a model of the human heart or a DNA strand, even though we have some of those things, or certain planets, or just a really fun little character, you can go to apps, use Magic Media, describe what you're looking for, and it will create you one of these interactive 3D elements. So you can create your own as well. So we have a lot of them here, but you can also create your own. Okay. Let me give you one more minute to try those, and then we'll keep going. So again, elements and 3D or apps and Magic Media will allow you to create your own. But let's take one more quick minute here and try adding a few of those, and then we'll keep going. Okay. I'm making myself a quick refresh because I don't know what's happening with my Canva today. We are just having a day. Okay, so again, 3D graphics, you can create your own, super fun. Okay, let's move over to forms and talk about these really quickly. Under elements, you have, so we talked about graphics and 3D graphics. You also have a section now that says forms. Forms was originally polls and quizzes. And now we have a forms option, which just allows us to have more options. So it looks a little different. So when I go to elements and I click on forms, I have a bunch of different sections. One of them says education. You can use any one of these. Honestly, it does not matter which one you start with or which one you use because they're all customizable. So it kind of doesn't matter. I tend to typically start in an education one, but it's up to you. You'll notice some of these have one quick question. This one here is kind of like our original poll or quiz question. It has one question. But we now can add multiple questions to a single form. So instead of having a bunch of individual, you can add one. I don't know why. Nothing is moving today. This is going very well today, guys. It feels like it should be a Monday morning. But this is a form. It apparently doesn't want to move, but it will. You can add multiple questions now and things like that. One thing I will say is that I've heard, for whatever reason, it's not doing it. The more you add or the more you make the text bigger, it gets longer, but it doesn't like wrap and it doesn't stretch the same. So in a presentation, you're pretty locked into that slide being this way. If you want to ask multiple questions and your form gets really long, I definitely recommend using a design that's vertical or like a whiteboard or something else that's going to give you more space. So there's just some ways to kind of play around with that the more that you start to edit and get into some of these tools. You might have to like think about the type, which is great for that multi-doc to be able to also change different page sizes. So I'm just going to throw that out there as you're playing with it. That is definitely a common piece of feedback that I see. To add different questions, when you click on the form, there is an edit button at the top. This will show you all the question types we have: short answer, long answer, multiple choice, checkbox, polls, mood meters, things like that. And then when I click, I can adjust anything that's already on the form here. So I can delete questions, add questions. So any of the ones that you start in are totally customizable. With those multiple choice, you'll see when I click on this one, it shows the options, which then I can also customize, things like that. And so forms gives you lots of choices on things that to add, different types of questions, things like that. So to edit the text in the questions, you're going to use the edit button. You also can edit things like background color, text color, font size. You have all of those features up here in this toolbar. So you can kind of move through and change some of the coloring, font size, font color, whatever you want that to look like. And then you also have a tab that says responses. This is why I wanted to give one so that you could see what that looks like, because right now when you click responses, you can't see anything because you haven't shared your design. This is the one that I used at the start of our session. So when I click responses, I have it automatically set to not collect your names. So they all say anonymous. So that's just the reason that mine says that. Yours can look different, but it shows all of the responses here. I can view those responses. I can also now link those to a Canva spreadsheet, which we're going to talk about today. So Canva launched spreadsheets. So I can link those and export them over to a Canva spreadsheet. I can also, under the three dots, I can download them as a CSV or a different kind of spread if I want to put those somewhere else. I can also reset them. So if I want to link it to a spreadsheet or download it and then reset it so I can reuse it, which is what I do with this one all the time, I can do that as well. So I love the ability to just quickly be able to link to a Canvas sheet and then also reset. So really easy. That's what responses looks like. I just wanted to give you that viewpoint. So again, forms, edit will edit to show you the different question types and allow you to edit questions, colors, font sizes, things like that. Normally you would have white dots in the corner and a box to stretch. I don't know why mine doesn't, but normally you might be able to do that. Mine apparently doesn't want to today. But that is an easy way to add, again, more of that interactivity. Okay. I'm going to give you I know this is really fast, but for the sake of time, I'm going to give you about 1.5 minutes here to kind of play around with those, and then we'll keep going. It'll take about 1.5 minutes here. Let me see if I do this, if it'll play my sound. There we go. I think that. Yeah, now it's not so quiet. Okay, so that is a different way to add that interactivity. We're going to shift gears and we're going to quickly look at Canvas sheets, and then we're going to squeeze in 1 or 2 last AI tools as well. Spreadsheets might sound boring. They might sound like data and numbers, but honestly, Canvas spreadsheets is the one thing that I think people are like, I guess I'll learn about it. And once I show people what it can do, it's like their favorite thing. It's my favorite thing right now. It would have saved me hours as a teacher. So we're going to move over to page 5 and take a look at Canvas sheets. So a couple of things. This is where that pages button can be helpful because you do run out of space really quick with sheets. So I'm going to drop those pages down so I have a little bit more space to show you this. So we're going to pretend this is our class list. So in a Canvas spreadsheet, I could import my class list. I could import pictures if I wanted to, or I could just have information in here. Maybe I have a class, wouldn't this be great if this was my whole class list? But maybe this is my quick class list and I am just sitting and I need to quickly come up with some notes for my students. If I sit here and write super quick ELA and math notes, maybe this student is struggling with fluency and doing great with division. I don't know. This can be really terrible notes, but I think you're going to get the idea. And then this student is reading at grade level, not grade. And this student in math is struggling with math facts, doing awesome, aced his test. I don't know. You get the idea. So you can quickly and easily just jot yourself some notes about your students. It doesn't have to be, you can just write in things like that. And then let's say I need to turn in these notes. Maybe I'm tracking over the course of a quarter or a unit or whatever. Maybe I need to turn these into report card comments, or I need to turn them into an email to families, or whatever that might look like. In Canvas spreadsheets, 2 key things. Number 1, you always want to grab the number of cells that you need. So I'm going to grab the number of cells I want filled in. So I want to fill this. I want to turn these into report card comments. So I'm going to click and hold and drag and grab the number of cells that I want. And then in this top toolbar, there is a little actions button. Under actions, which actions is the key button in spreadsheets, we have Magic Write. Magic Write is like our generative text tool that you use in any other design, just like ChatGPT, Copilot, or Gemini. I can ask it for something. I want 2 complete sentences with a positive tone. It will read my spreadsheet. It knows I want report card comments. When I hit generate, it is going to take that student's name, the notes that I wrote, and turn those into 2 sentences with a positive tone. I hit insert, and it is right there. So super easy. Again, I just used Magic Write, which is Canva's generative text tool. So I grabbed the number of cells, chose actions and Magic Write, asked it what I want, It read all the information on my spreadsheet and gave me that. So quick, easy ways to be able to save some time when we're doing things in our classroom. Maybe that's like a fun award name. I don't know, you name it. And then, so that's one way to do it. So Magic Write is a prompt box where you ask it for something. The second spreadsheet, and I'm going to give you time to practice all three of these. The second spreadsheet is similar. This one talks about, okay, this is a little bit, we probably don't need this information, but you could do this in a lot of different ways. This one talks about maybe I need this information for a PE thing, an NBA player, the team, the position, all this information. Could I go to the web and find this? Yes. Could this do it for me a lot faster? Also, yes. Could this be a planet, the distance from the sun, a fact? The way, I don't know, whatever information you need about a planet or the element of the periodic table, you name it. You put in the titles of the information that you want. In this one, again, I'm going to grab the cells I want to fill in. So I'm going to grab all these cells in the middle. I grabbed all of these. And then under actions, instead of using Magic Write, since I wrote in up here what I want it to do, there's a button that says fill empty cells. So if I choose fill empty cells, it will fill in that information because it knows what I want because I wrote the titles in the columns. Here's that information. I hit insert, bam, it's done. So again, Magic Write gives you a prompt box where you ask it for something and it reads that. Fill empty cells just reads what's on your page and fills it in. Okay, the third one is similar. This one is a rubric. So same idea. The key, this one looks nice. The keyword on this page is rubric. If you started a blank spreadsheet and just typed in the word rubric and the topic, that's all you need. I just made this one look nicer because you can in Canva, right? You can make your spreadsheets look a lot prettier. So maybe my topic is an argumentative essay about school uniforms. Oh my God, I cannot type. We're going to say 8th grade. Again, I can just feed it as much information as I want. So argumentative essay, this could be a project, a learning objective, a standard, whatever it is that you want to assess on a rubric. I see that question in the chat and I'll come right back to it. For the rubric, you have some choices. I could put in like if I know I'm using a 4-point scale, I could put in that information. If I know I have certain criteria, I could type in that information. So I can put in either one. If I did, I would grab the middle, but I don't have to. If I know I want about a 4-point scale, so I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I want about 5 criteria. You grab the number of cells you want filled in. That's the key. And then I go to actions. And again, I have 2 choices. I can choose Magic Write, and it will give me a prompt box, and I can feed it and say, make sure it assesses X, Y, Z, or whatever you want to tell it. Or I can just use fill empty cells and it will write me a rubric. It knows I want a rubric and it knows the topic because I put that in the page and there's my rubric. Once I hit insert, all of this information is editable. I can type, I can change it. You don't have to, you can use however you want. You can adjust it. So again, Magic Write lets you prompt, fill empty cells, fills in based on what's on the page. Okay. I'm going to give you a minute to try those. And the question in the chat, how do you know? I would obviously check the data from my understanding and from I do this all day, every day. There is very rarely something that pops up that isn't right. The only thing I've seen, like with this NBA one, I would not know if this is wrong, but apparently sometimes players get traded. And so it'll have like an old team for a player. Maybe it hasn't quite got, but it's running on web-based pieces. So it's usually pretty accurate, but obviously I would always check. Yeah, good question. That's a great question. Okay, let's take, I know this is so fast, you guys, but we're going to give you like another minute and a half to test those out because I want to at least squeeze in Canva code if we can before we end. So let's take about a minute and a half here, and then we'll shift and do one last piece in Canva code. That's also tied to Sheets now. Okay, let's talk about the timer really quick because I always forget to say that. Timers exist in most design types now with the exception of usually video. They are in this lower toolbar. There is a little timer icon here. You should see it on your page too. There's a timer button. You can change the minutes and seconds. And then there are 5 sound choices. You can't upload your own, but you can choose any of those. So that is where I am getting that timer in that lower toolbar under that little timer button. I love the timer. I use it all the time. Okay, last little bit that I want to cover. We have about, 12 minutes left, so I want to try to squeeze this last bit in because I think this is the most exciting. The page that is on the end, this is an embedded presentation. So there's actually a whole slide deck built in here. If you double click on it, you'll be able to move through the pages. I'll also share an external link, Kathy, with you if you want to share out or add to the resources. I have another link to this. But this is just a whole guidebook around some of our AI tools, including Magic Write, Magic Activities, and Canva Code. So I added it in here as just kind of a reference and resource for you to have later. But we're going to talk about Canva Code, which is the last kind of newer feature that we haven't talked about. And I need to switch my share so that I get the whole screen. So this one lives back on Canva's homepage. So you can either open another tab, or if you have the homepage open, go back to Canva's homepage. This design that you're working in is automatically saving. So you can click on these 3 lines and go back to home, and you'll be able to come back. It's your design is saving here. But we're going to go back to Canva's homepage to find this one. Maybe. On Canva's homepage, you have a button up here that says Canva AI. We're going to see if this works now. Under Canva AI, there are some choices down here. Create student activities is Magic Activities. There's info on that in the guidebook. I'm going to skip that for today, but there is info on that. You can create a design, an image, a document, and then you'll see a button here that says Canva Code. When I click on Canva AI and Code, Canva Code allows me to code interactive activities for my classroom. So this came out in spring in June, but then what just came out in October is now, if you've been playing it all in Canva Code, you know that what you created just sort of lived there. The scores didn't go anywhere. It was just kind of an activity. Now you can connect your data to a Canva spreadsheet, which is super exciting. So you just type in and describe and tell them what you want, and then it will create it for you. So I'm going to show you one that I did, just that I already did, so you can kind of see what it looks like, just to save us some time. So this one I said, an interactive card sorting game showing uppercase and lowercase letters for my kinders to play, give them a score out of 10, first confetti if they get them right. So I just asked for a little like card sorting matching game. So this is what it created for me. It's not great. I would redo this one in a couple different versions, but it is just a quick card sorting where I can drag the cards over and match them here. You'll notice now when I code something, so I just ask it for something, it just runs and it does its thing and it creates this activity. If you ask it for something that has a score or anything like that, you're going to see an option up here now that says data, and it's connected to a Canva spreadsheet. So a couple things about this. Number one, you can create things, I wouldn't say quite as interactive as Kahoot, but really similar. Yes, it just won't be the whole class playing the same game at once. You would have individual students playing. So a little more like, I think quizzes is more like that, or some of those where it's that individual student playing versus the whole class playing against each other. But you can create interactive games. I actually created also, the other one that I've done recently is like a quick calendar of warm-up questions, just for fun, just to try something different. Students would click on the date, enter their name, and answer the question, and you could capture that data too. Exit tickets is a great way to use it. Absolutely. Any kind of fun activity, gamification, whether, review, matching, quizzes, work, whatever it might, anything interactive, it can do. So once you have it, and again, it usually takes multiple tries for me. This is try one. I probably would adjust a few things. You have to use it in a design to share it with students. There are now 2 options. I'm going to tell you what I think works best is using a design and presentation. Websites work okay too, but there's a lot of iffy things with that. So I would highly recommend using a design and then choose presentation. When you do that, it will open in a present. Oh, yeah, Kathy, go ahead.
Sorry, one thing,
Okay.
because we have had some users
Yep.
using Canva code and wanting to do lots of fun things. I was going to say that we are recommending the presentation because we found that with our filters and stuff, the website
Yep.
sometimes is blocked for
Yep.
students. So the students can't go to the website, but if you put it inside your presentation and then you share that link, that's the best way to have that interaction with the students. There was a question about connecting to Google
Yep.
Classroom. So I don't know if you want to go over like the assigning within Canva.
Yep. So, so this is what it would look like. I already have it, so I don't want to make a new one. But if I were to go to the Canva AI and choose use in a presentation, this is what it looks like. It adds it to a presentation slide. It is scrollable and interactive, things like that. Once it's in my presentation slide, to share it, I can go to share. Public view link is key. Share public view link. That allows anyone with the link to play it or to use it or to access it. The other thing that you'll notice is if I click on it, there is a data button up here. So it's going to show me the spreadsheet that it's connected to. I've already done this with people, so I have answers in here. What you need, this is great that it's telling me this, that's new. One thing that you'll notice is that data doesn't just start trickling in. Like you won't watch it update in real time. You need to click on data and refresh data for it to refresh and bring in data. So you just have to refresh it if you want to. So that is one key. So again, I'm going to say it all again. Add it to a presentation, go to share, public view. Public view does not require a Canva account to use it. So you can absolutely do this for families, parents, whatever else you want to use it with. Share and public view link is one option, and that is helpful for anyone who has access. And then when you click on it and choose data and open that spreadsheet that's attached, just make sure you hit data and refresh when you want to update and see what answers have come in. So there's a couple of little steps there and things like that. A few other options that are new. Now I can edit the text, colors, and font of my code, which is kind of exciting. If it comes in kind of funny or you want to change it a little bit, I can do that. And then you can also go to share. I'm sorry, you can also, let me backtrack. You can also use Assign and Google Classroom. You can assign this to Google Classroom. It will not capture the scores and put them in your Google Classroom gradebook. It's not connected like that. You could assign this so every student gets their own copy, but when you do that, it's going to make every student have their own copy, which isn't going to always connect. Like the sheet is going to get a little crazy. So I highly recommend going to share, public view, using the spreadsheet, and then using this to either import the scores or copy over the scores into your Google Classroom gradebook, if that makes sense. So little convoluted. I know that wasn't super as clear, but it can connect to a spreadsheet now, which is exciting. And it can be anything. Again, it could be short answers. It could be information that they're putting in. It could just be the score off of something that you created, things like that. I'll show you one last one. Everybody loves this one. I just made this one and it's really fun. Oh, is it going to be in here? Oh yeah. This is my most recent one that I did. It took me 6 versions. It's still not perfect, but I love it. It's just like Space Invaders. You guys remember classic Space Invaders? But it's about parts of speech. Is it Space Invaders tied to parts of speech? No, but is it a fun way for my students to learn about the parts of speech? Yes. So I just made a little Space Invaders parts of speech game. And again, they get a score after 1 minute of how many they got right. So just something really simple like this. Again, it's just a little gamification of it. So again, I go to Canva AI, I ask it for the code, I run the code. If you do get a code, like you'll see in this one, it doesn't have that data option. I just have to go back to my code side and say, I want to capture student scores in a Canva spreadsheet, and it will recode it so that it's connected to it. You just have to ask it for that if it doesn't automatically give it to you. So this thing is a little smart bot. It takes sometimes multiple versions to adjust. You know, I definitely always say, give it 3 or 4 versions to get where you want it. Sometimes it takes 10 to 12. If you don't see data right away, ask it for the data, things like that. And yeah, so fun ways to use Canva code. And again, that guidebook's got a lot of information. There are a lot of cheat sheets in design school. And Kathy, if we need to send some specific ones over, we can, but there's some great new cheat sheets around some of those pieces, but our design school has all of those asynchronous resources as well. So that's a little bit of Canva AI and Canva code. And then now the ability, which I love, to connect it to that spreadsheet to capture that information.
No, that's awesome. I always learn like 8,000 things whenever Janice does a training, and I want to do everything all at once. I have to slow down, like do one thing at a time, Kathy, one thing at a time.
I know.
Yeah.
And start small. Like it can be something little, like a little matching or a little something. And don't be afraid with this little AI bot. That's what I always say. It's smart. So ask it what you think it's missing, or ask it what it thinks you need. Don't be afraid. I tell people all the time, don't be afraid to yell at it. Like sometimes it'll say, I can't do that. And you say, yes, you can. And then it does it. So sometimes you just have to kind of push it a little bit. It always is updating. You can now bring in, like I had made flashcards recently, which you used to not be able to do, and now I can do, where they have images of the planets in them versus random graphics. Like you were we're seeing a lot of great updates to this. So just don't be afraid to kind of yell at it or ask it for things, and it'll do more than I think most people realize. It just takes a number of versions to do it. So that's what I always share. Yep. So if you want to create something like I did, you just go to Canva's homepage, choose Canva AI, and then make sure you choose code. And then you just type in whatever you want it to make. It runs a little code and it'll pop it up. And then you can keep adjusting in that chat box back and forth till you get the version that you want. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
I can't wait to see all the things that you guys are creating. So if you choose to do the implementation, if you do want points for implementation, you will have to share just how you're going to use it. Just a brief, this is module 2 of e-learning is the implementation. You're going to share 3 to 5 sentences, what new feature you like the most, how you see yourself using it, and then just a link. Make sure it's available for anybody to view, so that I don't have to email you to ask for permission to view it. So create something using one of these new features. I love that 3D features. I have a whole thing of bows right now. So I love that. I do want to let you guys know before we get off the training that we do have our technology conference coming in February. If you are doing something, I see so many great ideas. Allison, I would love for you to present at the tech conference your game in Spanish. That sounds awesome. Would love to see that. We will have Canva there. Unfortunately, not Janice, but her colleague Amy will be there doing Canva training during the day. So we'd love for you guys to attend the conference. But if you're doing something with Canva, with any kind of technology, we would love for you to present. I've put the link in the chat there. So we'd love for you to bookmark that page for us. And again, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Thanks again to Janice. We do have this is the last slide, and I've put some links in the chat. I know some of you guys have asked about the video recording. Some have asked about different trainings. So I've put the links in the chat so you can do all the things, all the ed techie things. So there's feedback specific to this training. We'd love to get that from you. But also if you want to join the mailing list, we promise not to spam you, but if you want to be up to date on all the latest and greatest of these trainings, join that mailing list. Our website is where we post these recording as well as the resources that Janice was talking about. So links out to some helpful spreadsheets, helpful one-pagers on using some of the various apps, following us on X, and then YouTube is where we also post our training videos as well. So thank you guys so much for joining. If you do have any individual questions, feel free to stay on. Oh, Ida, that's wonderful. 3 lessons already. See, you're already ready to go. Love to see it. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you do want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. If you have any